Chef Dan here. I'm in my Wolf Sub-Zero kitchen, and we're gonna make a really fun meal today. Today, because dads have big appetites, we're gonna do the anti-slider. So it's just a bigger slider. Follow along, it's gonna be a great time. Okay, so here's our ingredients for our slider, or our anti-slider in this case. We have ground beef. My favorite ground beef is gonna be 80-20. You've got a lot of good fat content in there with some flavor. We've got some cheddar cheese. And again, if you're doing this at home, you can be flexible. You can do what you want. But we got our cheddar cheese here. We've got our Hawaiian style pretzel rolls that are fantastic. Again, if you can't find those, you can use regular rolls, or you can use regular pretzel rolls. Anything will work great. Here we have some butter lettuce. Butter lettuce is really tender lettuce. It's really nice. We're gonna use that today. I love the color of it, but you can use whatever you want in that as well. We have one yellow onion. We have one large tomato. We have some ketchup and mustard condiments. And so we're gonna get to cutting. Just kind of a quick tutorial on how I cut an onion is if an onion was in the ground, this would be the root end and this would be the end that would be coming out of the ground. And so the root end is connecting all the layers of the onion together. So the first thing I do is slice off the top of the onion. I like to have a little garbage bowl. I'm gonna put all my little goodies in there that are gonna go in the trash. Try and keep a clean surface. Now I'm gonna cut my onion in half. And I'm going to peel it off. So I'm going to peel off the rest of the skin, and we're going to be left with just the main part of the onion. What I like to do too is the root end can be a little dirty, so I'll just kind of cut off the little knob and put that in there. So this is kind of what I'm left with. So I'll do that with this side too. Make sure my border is completely clean, but this is the onion that I'm going to cut with. Now, there's varying cuts that you can do for an onion. We're going to make dice cuts. You can make julienne style cuts, whatever your final ingredient is for. So if you're putting it in like a stock or a soup, it doesn't have to be as fine. If you're putting it as a garnish, you might want more clean cuts. But generally, what we do at this point is we take our onion and we're going to slice it this way through it. So I'm going to start here, and I'm just going to kind of slice all the way, but I'm not, if you can tell with my knife, I'm not going all the way through the onion, just kind of 90% of the way. And depending on how big of dices you want, you're going to make as many slices that way. So if you want bigger dices, less, more that way. Now, we're going to slice, we went this way, now we're going to go down. So, all the way through. And the reason that we're keeping our root end together is because it's still a pretty solid onion at this, so it's still easy to cut. If we didn't have that root end, if we cut that root end off, it would be kind of all over the place. So now we're just going to slice lengthwise like this. And this is our onion dices. So that's kind of it. We're going to put this back in our onion bowl. Now, if you want another slice, so for our sliders today, I don't really want to use a dice. I want to use more of a julienne cut, but I don't want a full julienne cut. But one thing that's really important is we want to make this onion melt into this onion and the beautiful flavor it brings. We want to kind of melt into the burger. And so we almost want people, when they eat this burger, to not really know there's onions in there. We want them to caramelize quickly. We want to do all that stuff. So I want to cut it really thin. I'm going to cut it one slice down, and I'm going to cut it as thin as I can. If you have a mandolin, this would be a great use for your mandolin, all that stuff. But I'm just going to take my time and cut it nice and thin down the side. And what you're left with is a really nicely thinly cut onion. And I'm going to toss this. So today, we're going to be using this part of the onion for our sandwiches, and we'll use this for something else. All right, so now it's hamburger making time. So I had a pound of that 80-20 ground beef. I sliced it into 3 spots. I'm going to do 2 burgers per or 2 patties per sandwich, but because it's a slider and we're gonna smash it, I want it thin. I really want to develop that crust from the meat, that crunchiness that you get with a great slider. So, but I want to have my meat as portioned as I can. So these are approximately the same size balls, which is kind of what we're looking for. So I'm gonna roll them so they smash into a nice round shape. And then I'm gonna season them. So what I'm gonna season these with is ultimately we're gonna be using mustard, onions, and salt and pepper. Now, there's a lot of things you can season your hamburger with, but I like to keep it basic. I like to really have that meat come through, and I don't wanna hide that delicious onion flavor. And that mustard's gonna be that umami taste that's really gonna bring up the whole dish. I'm gonna salt and pepper all these. And then I've got some kosher salt. And we're gonna turn these over and do the same thing again. So we have that ready. We have our onions here that we sliced earlier. And we are going to put our onions down first. So we're gonna make a little. Then we're gonna put our meat right on top of that, and we're gonna smash it in. I've got this little wax paper that we're gonna use in there to kind of not have the meat attached to the pan. And we wanna just get a nice, good sear in there. Same thing for this side. All right, so I've got my griddle. Today I'm using the Wolf Griddle. It's one of my favorite griddles made. It does a great job. Because of the infrared burner below, it reheats the food really fast so I can get a great sear on it. So this is gonna cook pretty fast. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take a little Dijon mustard. I've got brown mustard here, but Dijon mustard would be great. Even yellow mustard. You just want something that's gonna get that vinegary flavor in there. We're just gonna brush that on here. Now, we're gonna flip our burgers. If needs be, you can smash them again. It smells so good right now. I can smell that onion, I can smell the meat, I can smell all that good stuff. Smash that down again. We're gonna let those cook. And once our onions are caramelizing, they're melting into the patty. We've got that going. So while that's doing it, we're gonna take a little bit of butter and we're gonna toast off our buns. So this will kind of do two different things with it. What's nice with this is it's gonna heat up our bread to make it nice and soft, but we're also going to get our bread, get that toasty texture. So it's kind of a 2-for-1. We're gonna get our bread soft, we're gonna get a nice toasty texture, and we're gonna add some of that delicious butter flavor in there. Oh, did you see how beautiful that looks? That was just on there for a very little bit. Get some nice crusting going on. While our hamburgers are done cooking, we're gonna put some cheese on them. You can put as much or as little cheese as your dad likes. We're gonna really load this up because, how can you go wrong with cheese? Cheese is delicious. Let's see how our rolls are looking fantastic. Put whatever condiments you want on there. If you like ketchup, mustard, mayo, you can do that. We're gonna put a little bit of ketchup on there. We're gonna put a little bit of mustard on there. And we're gonna put our tomatoes. We have these beautiful, it's summertime right now, so we have these really pretty tomatoes. We're gonna put some pickles on that guy. We're gonna take one thing you wanna make sure is to wash off your butter lettuce. Rinse them off. Now we're gonna come to our melting. Look how beautiful that cheese is melting. It's looking really good. We're gonna double stack these bad boys, so they're gonna get a little messy. Here we have that. Put our bottoms on it. So we're just gonna take this guy down. And there it is, ready to go, beautiful.